It all starts out when Vanderbilt makes his dad's shipping company and he sells it. He shipped cargo all over the place and then he sold it to make railroads. Now, when he was using his railroads, he made very prosperous moves and he ended up being the top of the railroad industry. The train stations also helped USA create a standardized times so everyone knew what time it is due to the train and their transportations. He became powerful by owning half the United States and railroads, so he bought land before everyone else did, before he thought that income could have came from this investment. One of the greatest investments was New York. Now, before New York could have been accessible by train from any other company, but he made sure there was a halt to any other companies other than Vanderbilt, Tranco, that could access New York City. Now, since a lot of people liked to invest, there was things called trust bonds. Trust bonds were under the table, so no one knew about it, and so anyone could change the rules about the company, and people got scammed out of money. Vanderbilt's biggest company partner was John D. Rockefeller. He used him to ship oil and other goods. Rockefeller started off the business by transporting his oil via Vanderbilt's trains. John D. Rockefeller, before he even got to the train to meet up with Vanderbilt, the train derailed and Vanderbilt found this as a sign, so he did not go to partners with Vanderbilt. John D. Rockefeller later on makes the biggest oil find in the city of Cleveland, so he made refineries to refine kerosene, which is a byproduct of oil. Before they knew that oil can make cars work or trains, they used steam power back then, so they had no idea what oil could do. So what Rockefeller did, he made it to kerosene, and he had refineries in Cleveland and all in Cleveland, and he created the company called Standard Oil. With all of his oil and all of his kerosene, he found out that he can make a light source that didn't burn down houses, because back then they used candles and other forms of light, and they burned down houses one after the other. So he made a kerosene lamp. This is really good because all you have to do is use kerosene, which was cheap back then, to make flame to keep the light go. And no one found out until later on that the lamps could explode and burn all the houses down, which was very bad. But they still used them because that was the only best source of light they could use. And this created street lights and other sorts of lights for anyone to use. Now, John D. Rockefeller did start out the oil pumping business, but he did not do it as effectively as we do now. Now, the pumps are very effective, so they don't lose as much oil as they did before. Back then, as you can see in the picture now, those are the oil pumps, and a lot of oil was wasted from it exploding outside, and it was very, very bad for the money that came out of it, because all the oil was wasted except for a little bit of amount, and they made the kerosene with a little bit of amount. But if they made better, more efficient oil pumps, they wouldn't have this crisis from losing some of the oil. They would be making much, much more money, and this would make John D. Rockefeller, even though he's very rich now, the richest man at his time if he made more effective oil pumps.